The Brewhouse was created to capture and share with you the long history of the Genesee Brewery. But the brewery itself isn't half as interesting as the beer and the people who make it. Visit GeneseeBrewhouse.com. Hi, everyone, and welcome to the Rochester Press Box presented by the Genesee Brewhouse. I'm Bill Pucko. Glad you're with us, and we're also glad to have Jenna Cottrell with us back Channel 13.
Thank you, guys.
Sports.
Appreciate it.
Mike Catalana, co-hosting along with Thad Lewis today. Huh?
Yeah.
Quarterbacks after Kelly jerseys. Just a tip, if you're on eBay, the game-worn large, much different than the large that you buy at the sporting goods store.
You can stretch that out a little bit.
It hurts so bad.
Also, he thinks he was a large anyways. That's what's funny.
Wow.
Yeah, really?
Wow.
She took a shot right there.
Jeez, now I understand what Mike Evans was doing.
Speaking of which, Jenna, it's nice to see you healthy and well.
Yes.
What's the best untold story from all of that happened to you the previous week?
I mean, it's not untold, but I didn't die. I probably should have. It was funny. I really, honestly, when it happened so fast and it was like Jameis Winston dropping back, and then I saw him pass it, and then I just saw Mike Evans' helmet. So I'm alive. I'm here. My mom called me on the sidelines, hoping that I would still answer. But
she saw it happen.
She saw, which was crazy because she lives in Albany. So, you know, the Fox camera turned to me and was like, "Hey, I just put you on national TV." And you're like, "Oh, okay." And then my phone started blowing up, and I was like, "Oh, that was real."
The best part, too, is the fact that where the Fox camera is, and you know right where it is, where the game camera is, it's like if you were setting up a shot for that area, it was perfect, right above. And we saw her flying in the air.
There's that blonde hair. Whoa.
Holding on to the camera.
It's such a life-changing event. Speaking of life-changing events, the Patriots traded Jimmy Garrapolo. Let's talk a little bit about New England, Jen.
Yeah, I mean, I was really surprised to see this trade because you look behind Tom Brady now, and we literally had to look yesterday to see who would be behind Tom Brady in this trade. But, I mean, I think it bodes well for at least other people outside of the Patriots. But it was interesting to see Garrapolo go out to the 49ers. I think it's a good shot for him to finally get his shot.
There were so many moving parts. I know you hated the New England side. Mike, where are you with this?
Well, I guess I look at it this way. There's one thing. They held on to him for half the regular season, then they make the move. Let's be honest. If something were to happen to Tom Brady, Jimmy Garrapolo is not winning the Super Bowl for this team. I do not believe right now he is that guy for them. And I don't believe they think that with the defense they have this year. They've had better teams. Brady is Brady. They are all in on Brady for now. Garrapolo is going to be a free agent at the end of the year. They had options, franchise him or sign him to a mega deal if you believe Brady was almost done or going to be done. I don't think they think that. Now they have a very high second-round pick. I think you will see them use that at some point, and they'll probably sign another one of those veterans, whether they were bringing in Brian Hoyer or whoever for now. And in the long term, unless New England was not sure about Garrapolo, then I guess that's the part. Because if they were sure about Garrapolo, I don't think they would have let him go.
Have at it.
The Patriots screwed up so badly, and I love it, and for three separate reasons. One, you had multiple teams offering you multiple picks for Jimmy Garrapolo before the NFL draft, and you passed. For what reason, I don't know. Is the reason you want to see Tom Brady play 8 more games to see if he still has it? Is 8 games the threshold? You screwed up. 2, to your point, he's not bringing you to the Super Bowl. You might be right. But he was also going to be your future franchise guy. That's why you didn't trade him before the NFL draft. So it says to me there is some dissension in the front office of New England. Somebody wanted to pull the trigger, other guys don't, and somebody won last minute. Third, this second-round pick you have, right? Everyone's, wow, they got an asset for Jimmy Garrapolo. You didn't, because Belichick has to go out next year and draft a quarterback. So the quarterback that you just dealt is going to have to be picked in the second, third, or fourth round. So that asset that you think the Patriots gained, you're shipping out a guy who you believe can play and now reaching into a mystery bag of quarterbacks, which, by the way, to be fair, career long-wise, the Patriots are terrible at drafting quarterbacks. Castle, Mallett, Hoyer, possibly Garrapolo, Brissett right now. They screwed up royally.
Yeah, well, Brady's still playing, and they got assets for every one of those guys. So they made moves. The question is, can they make the next move to get the guy? And they obviously did not believe that Garrapolo was worth the money or the wait.
And the
in that
timing
case.
is bad. 'Cause
Timing
you
is
can't-
bad.
You can't ask Garrapolo to sit around any longer. It's like Jenna waiting for you to retire.
I'm still waiting.
There is an unarguable fact. The Patriots had 3 quarterbacks on the roster this season. Brady, who they got with his 6th-round pick, Garoppolo 2nd, Jacoby Brissett for a 3rd. For their 2 backup quarterbacks they traded since September, they got in return a 2nd-round pick, which is equal for Garoppolo, and a wide receiver in Philip Dorsett that has 4 receptions for like 60-something yards this season. And Belichick is a genius.
It's so funny. The trading of a backup quarterback becomes the topic in what's been a very active trading deadline.
Because it has ripples when you go down. Everybody was assuming Kirk Cousins, year over, going to San Francisco to be out there with Shanahan. Obviously, that's not going to happen. So if Washington doesn't want to come to terms with him and they decide to let him walk, we'll be in the rare circumstance where we're going to have a good to, at times, very good starting NFL quarterback on the open market. Right? I mean, we don't have this. This does not happen. This is not right-handed pitchers. This is not cornerbacks. This is not power forwards. Starting higher level quarterbacks in the NFL in the open market, and we could see that with Cousins.
Like the bigger names out there, that move, but this was certainly the most interesting.
Yep.
This is the Rochester Press Box presented by the Genesee Brew House. We'll talk about the Buffalo Bills next. The Press Box, brought to you in part by Connors and Ferris, your workers' comp attorneys. Call 262-COMP, C-O-M-P, today. Welcome back to the Rochester Press Box, presented by the Genesee Brew House, and our Buffalo Bills segment brought to you by Connors and Ferris. We should explain that as we pre-tape the show, this precedes whatever happened to the Bills against the Jets. But, that notwithstanding, Mike, every week it's like, I can't believe what I see out of this team.
Yeah, I would say I've gotten to the point where when I say expecting it, what I expect is look at it, he thinks I'm going to jinx him again.
You did it last time.
I expect a consistent effort. I think, people asked me about picking the Raiders last week. I know you liked them against the Raiders, and I thought, well, they play good defense. The quarterback doesn't turn the ball over. They force turnovers, and they run the ball. That's a good formula. It's not like they're getting some crazy play. Donald Jones, I did the post-game show with Donald this week, and he was on the last team that was 5-2 coming in. Again, we don't know, though I think they have a really good shot to beat the Jets this week. Maybe I look dumb saying that. But in this case, I said to him, any similarities? He goes, none. None. Right away, he's like, none. He said, that team, we had fits, we were making some plays. He goes, the defense wasn't even close, and we didn't know what we had week in, week out, and they stole a few games. This team, they've been one of the more consistent teams in the NFL all season long, so I'm not that surprised.
How arbitrary is the takeaway number? When you look at that, is that a skill or luck factor that's bound to even up?
Okay, I was going to say, I think there's obviously some luck to it. But are we now past the point of we don't think Micah Hyde's in a good position all the time when the ball's in the air.
There's playing your position, which Micah Hyde is. Listen, every one of those defensive players has bought into this system and is where they have to be at all times. Matt Milano's a perfect example of that. But for the ball to float into Micah Hyde's chest 5 times. I mean, there's one interception where he makes a really athletic play. The rest of them, he's just there, and the ball has to go off the hand at the right angle to come on down. He should have another one off of Jameis Winston the week before.
Close, yeah.
I mean, it has to even itself out at some point.
But here's the way I would describe it. It's like any golfer can get a hole-in-one, right? If you can hit the ball, you knock it on the green, you get a hole-in-one. But your chances are so much greater if you're a great player and you're constantly put it in the right spot. So there's luck involved, but Hyde is always
like
there.
winning one-run games in baseball where they said that number is going to come back.
Right, but in this case, too, and offensively, we know the way they play. They play as a team that does not take risks. Tyrod does not take risks, and so it leads to a team that's not
Johnny,
going
you
to turn
see
it.
and hear these guys every week on the press conference, and is there a perceptible difference in the way they view themselves this year over last?
Absolutely. I mean, from last year to this year, I mean, first of all, you can tell that they really have bought in, and I hate that phrase, but the fact that this team really does rally around one another. I mean, I haven't heard the team talk about chemistry and camaraderie like this since I've been covering them. And you could really tell, I mean, guys are literally saying, I will fight for the player next to you, like unprompted, you talking to them. So you see that dynamic, and then you also see the fact that this team really does believe in what they can do. They believe that they are all the underdogs. They love flying under the radar because a lot of these guys have been, kind of picked off the pile in terms of Lorenzo Alexander, the Micah Hydes like you're talking about. So they really do enjoy being that underdog role and showing people that they can play. This is their opportunity to play, and they're taking advantage of it.
I'm concerned that Sal Mayorana's on board. That's the one thing that bothers me.
But I would say this to Sal and to anybody else, and even fans, obviously Sal's covering the team. They have given you a reason to buy in that it is not a fluke, that they are competitive. And the thing that has changed, I believe, is that they have won some of these close games where in past years they wouldn't have. They would be the exact same team and maybe be, with 3 wins instead of 5. But you would still be seeing the progress because they're in it, they play the same way. They have gotten the benefit. And I will say, at this point, Sean McDermott doesn't crack one bit. But he has to be surprised that they have 5 and potentially 6 wins at this point of the year, though he will never admit that.
Let's quickly...
wait a minute. He's so anxious because he thinks I'm jinxing him.
So help me God.
Let's stay over here. Quickly, let's pick a couple games. We'll do the Monday nighter and one other.
Okay, I'm going to Monday night. That would be Green Bay, Detroit. I'm going to take Green Bay at home. I mean, I think they finally got all their things together, and Detroit is not. I mean, Detroit is Detroit. They're always Detroit. I'm also going to go with Cincinnati, giving up 5.5 to Jacksonville. Doug Marrone, I despise that man as a human being. Cincinnati is better than what we think. Jacksonville is not as good as what we think. Cincinnati covers, wins straight up.
I like Green Bay on Monday. I think I found my team. Atlanta's a team that's got a little more upside, I think, headed into the second half. So I'll take them against Carolina.
Yeah, I'm going to take Green Bay, too, in that game. Detroit always seems to fail when they go to Green Bay, even if they don't have their quarterback in that case. And I'm going to take Seattle. I don't like Seattle giving points very often, but Washington is banged up, and something's turning there in Washington, and I don't think they're going to hang in that game.
Who do you like?
Well, I also like Green Bay at home. We talk about that. And then I was also going to go the Seattle game.
Oh, now I know I should change.
But I was going to pick Seattle. They're at home. They are coming off that great win. I think that bodes well for them.
Classy Wolf Media donates $500 to Hunter's Hope at the end of the football season in the name of our Pick the Games contest. Pat Duffy, the leader with a 10-6 record. 10-6 against the points. Still the leader in the clubhouse. Connors Affairs brought you this segment of the Rochester Press Box. Like It or Not is next. Welcome back to the Rochester Press Box, presented by the Genesee Brewhouse. Like it or not, look, it's been all football so far, but the baseball playoffs just concluded. The whole thing about the baseballs and being unable to throw sliders because they were shot, I feel like as great as some of these games have been, that they haven't been real.
It's a video game, right? Which is fine if you're trying to attract people that aren't normal baseball fans. I get you, Bill, being the old school baseball guy, not enjoying it, but...
Well, I didn't enjoy it, but it's like... I don't feel like it's the same game.
You're doing this face. No, listen, I agree with you. It's funny because, MLB says the balls are exactly the same. And they actually issued a statement saying we didn't alter the balls from the regular season in any way, which to me tells you absolutely did that. Just all of a sudden, these balls are flying out of the park at this kind of rate. You had, 3 games that set records for most home runs in World Series games? It's crazy. Sorry, I spit on your face there, Bill.
It's like Big 12 football, right? When there's no defense and it's just a bunch of things. I think the baseballs have been Ortized all year long.
I meant to say in the first segment that you went through the whole segment talking about a Boston sports team without bringing that up, and I was so proud of you.
I waited for my moment. No, I think look at the way the season went. Everybody's hitting home runs. I think people feel a little differently when it's the baseballs, and I'm not even talking about him, as opposed to the players, because then it seems... I think they made it this way. They wanted the home runs, and they got the home runs.
Do you like it this way? You want it to stay this way?
I feel like it really does have the casual fan invited in because, it's exciting. It's explosive. But I feel like at the same time, for those baseball junkies, you're going to turn a lot of people away just in terms of people being frustrated by the fact that this is happening.
Good to see what the ratings are when this whole thing is.
They've been good. They've been strong. They really have been. Yeah.
Excellent. This is the Rochester Press Box, presented by the Genesee Brewhouse. Unfinished Business is next.
Dunkin' has lots of fall favorites to root for. Maple pecan, pumpkin, maple sugar bacon. But on game day, we root for one team. One team, baby. Win the fall, folks.
Welcome back. This is the Rochester Press Box, presented by the Genesee Brewhouse. Unfinished Business, brought to you by Dunkin' Donuts. America runs on Dunkin', Pat.
So Section 5 football playoffs wrap up this week, and then they go off to states, and, we're taping this before Sunday. Aquinas played Pittsford over the weekend, and hopefully Aquinas won because I am an Aquinas alum. And I talk about on the break room on CMF how I'm an Aquinas alum every once in a while. So I got a bunch of Facebook and Twitter messages this week crushing the kids that play Aquinas football, right? Saying how they hope they do terribly and naming kids by name and all this stuff to try and, get in my craw. And then I go and look on Facebook and there's other people talking about high school kids and the game they're going to play on a Saturday. Bro, relax. Have we forgotten that these kids are just kids? They're in high school. It's not college sports, right? They're living with their parents. They're eating meatloaf for dinner. They're going to their jobs at a car wash. For goodness sake, whether it's football or girls or boys basketball or hockey or track and field, remember, when you're online talking about high school sports, it's 15 to 18-year-old kids. Take a breath, enjoy watching your family and friends play, and stop messaging me on Facebook.
I don't get the meatloaf reference.
Well, it's like a family dinner, right?
And let's face it, Aquinas has some really talented players, but even at times, even Aquinas has dressed some real stiffs and just guys that can't play at all.
You went to Aquinas?
I'm not getting the middle of it. Jen?
All right, so for Sabres fans out there, I need you to do one thing, and it kind of talks about Duffy's point as well, and that's relax, R-E-L-A-X. I know the month of October has been tough on you Buffalo fans. 3-7-2. It's not a great record. It's not a great start. And it's not great. But here's the thing. Phil Housley getting his systems underway. You need to take November, turn the page, and look at this month as a month of opportunity. There's 82 games in the season. I know the first couple have not been great. But let's just settle down. Panic button. Take your hand off it.
This would be so much worse for them if the Bills weren't so compelling.
That's
right?
the thing, but I feel like people are talking about like trust the process for the Bills. Now the Bills have seen success a lot sooner than this Sabres new regime has. But I think again, it takes a while to get yourself acclimated to this new system for the Sabres. You got to give people a little bit of time, and there really hasn't been that yet.
Do you know how anxious both of us have made him? One, I speak too highly of the Bills and the way it's going. He thinks I'm jinxing him. And Jenna actually tells people to relax about the Sabres, and Fanboy over here is dying.
There's no process. I would trust the process if there was a process. There was no process. What do you mean relax? You know what you're talking about.
Our buddy Tiger Woods is coming back to play what has been determined to be competitive golf. Now, let's take that in the context for what it is. Tiger is playing basically in his own event, and competitive just means they are keeping score, that the score actually counts. It doesn't mean Tiger is going to be competitive. It just means he's playing in an event where they keep the score, and the score matters. This isn't ceremonial golf. He may not be that far away from being the ceremonial golfer, but right now he's going to play. I want to see it. I'm excited to see it. At some point, I want to see a version of Tiger Woods come back and play, but I'm starting to get to the point where I wonder if that'll ever happen. I hope he's healthy. I see him put videos of himself swinging the golf club, and he looks fine, but the question will be, once he starts to play, can he get himself going? He seems to enjoy that role of being a mentor and a coach to some extent in these national or international events, and that's great. It happened a little sooner with Tiger than anyone would have thought, but maybe this is the start of at least somewhat of a competitive Tiger Woods.
You know, it's funny, when he was on top of his game, everyone always said he'll never let himself become just ordinary.
Yeah, and that's what we really have seen. Heck, he's got 2 steps to go up just to be ordinary. He's got to stay on the course.
This portion of the Rochester Press Box brought to you by Dunkin' Donuts. America runs on Dunkin'. Jenna, great to have you back.
Thank you, guys.
And conscious.
I try.
Yeah, that's debatable.
Thank you very much. And thank you for watching. We'll see you next week with the Rochester Press Box.